Hey everybody, this is Track 13 meteorologist Sean Ash. A little disclaimer, this is going to be a very long video because I'm going to get into some great detail about tomorrow, timeline, and what you can expect. I know a lot of folks have some evening plans here, so I do want to tackle that first and let you know that if we do see anything redevelopment, and we will, it's going to be on the isolated variety, showers and thunderstorms. Can't rule out a strong thunderstorm, but the main event will again be tomorrow. I'll also pass along that the National Weather Service office determined that last night we had a brief EF0, high-end EF0 tornado around Prince's Lake. It's what did some of that damage. And that's what, unfortunately, that same storm complex created the flash flooding. So here's the setup right now. We've got 79 in Muncie, pushing 90 degrees in Bedford, 84 in Terre Haute. Very, very humid outside. That will not change. Part of the equation tomorrow will be the rather high humidity that's going to create extreme instability in the atmosphere. So the heat indices are very uncomfortable, 90 plus over portions of the viewing area right now. Here's a Future Track 13. We're going to get into the early morning hours. And again, most of tonight, I think, is going to be relatively A-OK. Tomorrow is a different ball game. If this is the first time you're just getting into the forecast, I can tell you there's a highly probable severe weather event tomorrow. We're talking 45% chance within that purple shaded area that you see across a good chunk of central Indiana. Okay, so this is a pretty good chance this is going to happen. Not only that, we're also in what's called a hatched area, and that means there's at least a 10% chance, if not greater, of either 2-inch diameter hail, hurricane force wind, or EF20 or greater tornadoes. Now, I will tell you, most of this tomorrow is going to be severe wind. But tomorrow afternoon, if we could get some isolated cells developing, they will go severe quickly. They'll be large hail producers, and they could produce tornadoes, okay? So let's kind of step you through the process. I've got Future Track 13. We've backed it up to 11 o'clock this evening. Everything will start up to the north. Back across the central and northern plains, all of this atmosphere is very unstable. And so we're going to get these storms that are going to complex. The lead complex is going to develop across Minnesota, going to race down toward the southeast. And what's left of it, and it will probably strengthen. So this is 9 in the morning, so we're going to start to get into some daytime heating. We believe this is going to start to impact us close to rush hour, definitely by midday. We may have several different lines of damaging wind gust on the radar and tornado potential as well. So that will push through, and then we're going to have to kind of wait and see in the 4 p.m. to 8 o'clock hours, could we get some lone supercells developing, because the atmosphere will be highly favorable for supercells, but will we recover enough from those the early morning complex? That's to be determined, and the path on that first complex to be determined as well. So then, late evening, we'll look up to northern Illinois. Here comes a rapidly intensifying, probably will start out as cellular type storms. They congeal into a line of damaging wind. That will race through tomorrow night with a high chance of wind damage, unfortunately, along with more heavy rain. And there's still tornado potential as well with that. Let's get a little bit closer inspection with Future Track 13. And one thing I want to stress here is that, yeah, this is saying 11 a.m. That doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be on top of Lafayette or Kokomo. There's going to be some wiggle room with aerial coverage where it's going to be, and timing. All right, so you got to check back with the forecast here. So here's 1 o'clock, so that's the lead complex. We'll see if we get some isolated cells developing, and then we'll get this second charge, another what we call mesoscale convective system, highly charged one, and that again will put down more damaging wind. There's a very high chance of that. And then so we're going to recommend, because there's such a high probability of high wind and power outages, you probably should go ahead and start thinking about charging your weather radios and electronics and all that stuff. All right, and unfortunately, with multiple waves of storms and a highly juiced atmosphere, you know what? It would only take about an inch in about an hour, maybe an inch and a half in 3 hours to produce flash flooding. Some areas, unfortunately, I'm afraid to say, are going to see 2 to 5. So there is a very high chance we're going to have additional flash flooding depending on how these things track. So here's kind of the bullet points with this. Flash flooding and damaging wind are the highest risks tomorrow from Monday to Tuesday morning. And again, the hail and tornado potential is basically if we can get some cells developing on their own, and that again we'll have to wait that out. So complex 1, fair game from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., the isolated severe potential, and then 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. on Tuesday. Most of our area is going to be impacted. You have to be weather aware on this one. Power outages and flooding rain look rather likely. Widespread wind damage, an isolated large hail and tornado potential. The timing and track, though, that could change. I would go ahead on these thunderstorm warnings tomorrow, treat them like tornado warnings, because it doesn't matter if it's a severe thunderstorm that's putting down winds of 75 to 90 miles per hour. That is close. That is tornado wind speeds. So get your weather radios, download our free weather app. You can get the live Doppler 13 radar, you can get the warnings there, and we will continue to update the timing. Also a good idea when we get into this situation, let's hope not, but if we get trees knocked onto homes and you got to get out, you might want to have sturdy shoes, and obviously it goes without saying to cover your head. And we will kind of give you these bullet points over the next 24 hours. Don't need to be scared. Just be aware. That's what it's all about here, and we'll keep you posted. We'll step you through this over the next 48 hours, basically. Again, all quiet tonight, but we await the arrival of that lead storm complex late morning by midday. So we'll be on top of that. I'll have an update on TV at 6 p.m. Also 11 o'clock tonight, and I'm available around the clock on Twitter, as well as Facebook and Google+.